Welcome back to the City Current Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference, empowering the good, and we love talking about the amazing work with the American Cancer Society. We're honored to be joined by Elizabeth Ennis, Senior Development Manager with the American Cancer Society, and also Amy Thomas, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Program Manager and Customer Satisfaction with AutoZone, who also is the team captain for the AutoZone Striders. And so, how are you two doing?
We're doing great. Thanks so much for having us on this morning.
Good morning. Doing great. Thank you.
Well, we have a lot of good news to share tied to AutoZone, but let's start with American Cancer Society because, as I mentioned, you all are doing tremendous good, groundbreaking research, development, protocols, but let's go ahead and dive in for some context. So, Elizabeth, let's start out. Give us some background on American Cancer Society.
Absolutely. So the American Cancer Society is one of the longest standing national nonprofit organizations. Our focus is providing access to care, moving research forward in cancer patients' lives, and being able to provide comfort in any way we can to patients. We provide hope, across the board for anybody that has ever been impacted by cancer and for anybody that may ever have to hear the words, "You have cancer." So our focus here locally is, again, to make sure that we provide resources to patients, whether it's transportation or lodging, and then have that opportunity to share and showcase the research that we're doing across the country.
Absolutely. Let's dive in a little deeper because I want the viewers and listeners to understand all the different things you do. And especially when you talk about the money that's raised, where it goes, even locally, as you mentioned, you have a beautiful facility. And so go ahead and dive in deeper on the facilities, transportation, the support groups, some of the different things you all do.
Absolutely. So probably one of our biggest resources here is our Harris Hope Lodge. It's a free lodging facility for cancer patients that are traveling into Memphis to receive treatment. We offer that lodging to anyone that's traveling outside of a 40-mile radius, and it really gives patients a home away from home while they're going through that cancer journey and lightens the burden of having to figure out, I'm already paying for treatment. How can I pay for lodging to come see my doctor as well? So that's, a really top-notch resource that we have here in Memphis, right next to Sun Studio. So if you're in Memphis, you drive past it daily. But also, to help with the patients that are here locally, we have a Road to Recovery program that provides free rides to and from treatment. COVID kind of we took a hit with that from COVID in 2020. So we're in the process of getting that back off the ground, but you may see our vans around town with our logo, just providing those rides to patients that are here. And then this is not a local resource, but a national one is our 1-800 number and our cancer.org website. Anybody that has any sort of questions can call any time of day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and just ask questions to, volunteers and paid staff that can help provide hope, that can answer questions about insurance or diagnosis, and really get that comfort that they might be seeking when they're reaching out to us for help.
When you talk about fighting cancer, so much of it also revolves around research, development, new protocols, and this will tie into transitioning over to AutoZone, especially with the research grants. But talk about some of that work.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have research grants all over the country, and they, depending on what hospitals or universities are available, what researchers have put in for certain grants, they're researching different things all over the country, whether it's a breast cancer research grant that targets, therapeutic manipulation, or whether it's a research grant targeting immunotherapy or different types of chemotherapy with other different types of cancer. That work is being done across the U.S. Here in Tennessee, we currently have 7 active research grants, and we work with anyone between Vanderbilt, Meharry College. We worked with UT Health Science Center in the past. It just depends on kind of what is available right now and what researchers are able to get behind those grants.
Let's talk about events, because you have a number of events and ways the community can support your efforts. And so talk about some of the big events, and then this will definitely help us transition as we talk about making strides.
Sure. So actually over the past weekend, we hosted our inaugural Discovery Ball, which was our gala type event that directly supports funding operations for the Harris Hope Lodge. Between that, we're probably most well known for Relay for Life events. We have our Real Men Wear Pink campaign, Research Hers, Co-Shooters versus Cancer. But probably the biggest event that we do here in Memphis is our Making Strides Against Breast Cancer event. It's a 5K walk that we host in October, and we've been doing it for 23 years here in Memphis.
And so go ahead and help me transition to AutoZone in terms of all the big good news. Give us some of the highlights, and then we'll transition over.
Absolutely. So we are so grateful for AutoZone. They have been a part of the American Cancer Society with us for the past 10 years, and just steadily increasing their goals and just blowing past them. And in 2022, they raised over $200,000 and snagged the #1 spot in the country for the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer movement out of all other teams across the country. On top of that, they had raised enough money to help designate and name an active research grant that is being researched and worked on by a doctor fellow at Baylor College of Medicine. So we are so proud of them. We're so excited to be partnered with them, and just appreciate all that they have done for the American Cancer Society over the years.
There we go. Well, let's switch over to the national champs. And so Amy Thomas, once again, title-wise, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Program Manager, Customer Satisfaction with AutoZone, also the team captain with the AutoZone Striders. Talk about why this work is so important to you personally, but AutoZone professionally.
Sure. So I got involved with the American Cancer Society 20 years ago, actually. A previous employer, also local to Memphis, Fred's Dollar Store. And I had a team there for 10 years before moving over to AutoZone. So came over, AutoZone embraced it immediately. So I signed up as team captain, and the rest is history. Elizabeth's already kind of covered some of it. But I've been involved with Making Strides for 20 years, but 4 years into my volunteerism with ACS, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. So that was the moment, like, okay, now it all makes sense. You know why you're involved, and continue to be involved because of her. She's a 14-year survivor, so all good there. She's living and thriving thanks to the work and the research the American Cancer Society does.
Talk about how you all put together your teams. Talk about, in other words, the structure for AutoZone to be able to engage the team members.
Sure. So I'm simply the team captain. I'm just the one that checks the box, every year, because somebody's got to get us kicked off. AutoZone Striders are made up of not only people here local to Memphis at our store support center, but we have 10 distribution centers across the country where AutoZoners fundraise there, and it all comes back to our overall total goal of that $200,000. AutoZone continues to support the American Cancer Society, specifically other than any other nonprofit, because they're second only to the U.S. government in fundraising. So we know where the money's going that we're raising year after year and help funding the fight against cancer.
What's been some of the feedback from your fellow AutoZoners in terms of being involved, participating, just like you said, the personal story with your mother? What's been the feedback from some of your fellow team members?
Unfortunately, too many of us are touched by this disease. You can't really ask anyone, that does not have someone in their family or friends that are touched by breast cancer. So everyone is always eager to get involved. We have, numerous events local in Memphis. We have a poker tournament at Blind Bear right around the corner. We have a comedy show. Last year was Old Dominic. Lots of places, lots of local businesses are just really eager to help us out. And so are the AutoZoners. They want to get involved because so many have been impacted by breast cancer.
How does this help encourage, strengthen the culture for AutoZone? So you sit at a really, I think, interesting vantage point in terms of what you do on the programmatic, the job side. But yet when you talk about being a culture keeper and encouraging that sort of culture, and also the philanthropy, the community engagement, how does this play a role in the culture for AutoZone?
It fits right in. Part of our pledge of values is cares about people. So this event, Making Strides, being engaged with the American Cancer Society, definitely fits right into the culture of AutoZone and cares about people. How do we make a difference in our community, around our stores, around our distribution centers, and here local in Memphis at the Store Support Center. So definitely aligns strongly with the way the AutoZone culture does.
What's something that you've learned over the years in terms of pulling it together, participating? What's something you would share, in other words, as a tip, a lesson learned, words of encouragement for other companies to get involved and participate with the American Cancer Society?
Just get started. Every year, they send out the email, time to sign up. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Let's do it. And is it intimidating? It's so intimidating. We knew that last year we raised $167,000. We knew that grant was at the $175,000 level. So as a team captain, you got to rally the troops, but start somewhere. Like my first year here at AutoZone, we raised $2,500. And just 10 short years later, we're already at $200,000. So you're not going to get anywhere if you don't get started. And a pace setter goal is $2,500. So if you want to have a pace setter team, you just got to get started and look to your local businesses that already have things going, that you can walk in and just maybe put up a banner and give out some pink bracelets and get $5 donations, because $5 donations add up, right? And so in the grand scheme of things, you really just have to get started. You just got to, sign up on the website, send out your emails. I'm fortunate enough to work at AutoZone where we have a matching gift program. So a lot of companies do that. So as long as like an AutoZoner here donates $25, AutoZone matches that and it becomes $50. So again, you start small. Don't let it overwhelm you, because all of the small things that you do, bake sales, comedy shows, poker tournaments, all of it adds up. So just get started.
Absolutely. Great advice indeed. The grant, AutoZone Breast Cancer Research Grant, when you look at being awarded, what does it mean to you personally and professionally as well? So going back to your mother, what does it mean to have the research grant named in honor of AutoZone?
It means a lot. It's impactful in that, unfortunately, again, like AutoZone's lost family members to breast cancer specifically, as well as a number of other cancers. But having the grant, named after AutoZone is just in honor of those people, and also people that are currently fighting cancer. So, and it gives hope and to people fighting, but also to our survivors. Just knowing that we're doing something to try to make a difference is just very impactful to the company.
Absolutely. Elizabeth, add some context from your vantage point in terms of the encouragement for more companies, just like Amy's talking about, to get involved, support your efforts. So share your words of encouragement and thoughts.
Again, we're so grateful for Amy and kind of how she leads her team and does showcase what other companies can model after. Like she said, just get started and send out emails, talk about it, wear your pink, get those conversations started. But also, being able to see exactly where their money goes is very inspiring and encouraging, because again, you see it in the community at the Hope Lodge, you see it in the community with our CHOP programs or with our Road to Recovery program, but especially for them being able to name that grant and seeing where that money goes and being able to hear from the researcher that's doing that work is truly inspiring. So, we encourage any and all companies that want to be involved with us, like Amy said, just to get started, and we're here to help and provide the best resources that we can to help you.
We'll go ahead and carry that into where do we go? So where do we go to, access the resources, but where do we go to start taking those steps to get involved and support the American Cancer Society?
Absolutely. Well, the easiest place to go is www.cancer.org, and that has all the information you need about anything cancer related, but more specifically for the local Making Strides. If companies or individuals are interested, they can visit makingstrideswalk.org/MemphisTN, all that information is on there. And again, it links back to cancer.org. One thing that is kind of off, but I want to make sure to mention about Amy and her team this year is that, you know, they have raised a lot of money over the last 10 years. They did snag that #1 spot in the country last year. But this year they've set their goals high, and they are looking to cross the $1 million mark since getting started 10 years ago. And that would officially name them AutoZone Striders as a legacy Making Strides team, which is a huge deal. So
yeah, very cool. Well, Amy, mention where we can go to learn more about AutoZone. So website, where would you direct us to go?
Well, we're always recruiting, so AutoZone.careers.com is a nice place to start. So come get in the zone, if you will.
Absolutely. Well, AutoZone is a longtime city current charter partner, and so we love everything you do to power the good here in the Mid-South and beyond. So when you look at the global reach of AutoZone, absolutely impressive, and the heart for serving the community. I've got so many amazing stories myself. But once again, the website for American Cancer Society, cancer.org, great place to access the resources, to start taking the steps to get involved. So definitely encourage everyone to visit cancer.org to start getting involved. Amy, Elizabeth, thank you for all you and your amazing teams do. Thank you for coming on the show.
absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.